that I want to talk to you about that is hugely important to people with first novels and first memoirs. The idea that the author is now primarily the person responsible for promoting a book. When you published Song of the Crow, that was just starting to be the case, I think, where they didn't necessarily tell you that, gee, you're supposed to be out marketing all the time, but that it was starting to be the ambient expectation, rather than, oh, show up to these 4 book signings, and your job in promotion is done. We'll take it over, right? And now this is so common. Where
I think that is the beauty and the pitfall of the internet, in the same way that the music industry sort of broadened and disenfranchised, and there wasn't really a big Fleetwood Mac, or I mean, when we were growing up, there was there were 5 bands. It
was the merest infant.
Well, I just dated myself there. So and the same thing with books. Same thing with books. Now is that there's less of the dragon tattoo girl and girl
with the dragon tattoo.
So the internet has allowed us to sort of find our own people in a way, and that you use all the tools, Facebook and blogging and I don't know what else, but
I'll put up the links to latest blogs.
Yeah. So
it's immensely time consuming.
It is, and because I think that publishers are also befuddled. They're going, how do we do it? They're sort of looking at some of the models and templates of people who'd found their own audiences through their own activities, and it's sort of like a free for all.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, it used to be that someone like Jacqueline Suzanne, I'm going to date myself now, who used to go out and hand sell each of her books, or someone like R. Stein, right, who would go around with a little book and go around to booksellers and meet everyone who worked behind the counter, and basically convince them, okay, you should try to sell 1 copy of my book, and if everybody does that, then it's going to sell pretty well. That used to be the exception, and now I work with a lot of writers who that's sort of supposed to be the norm now. But do you take a year off of work to do that? I think it's very difficult, and most writers are shy people. I think it's a solitary activity.
Well, you gotta. I think that there's the writing. And then there'll be the promotions. And
of course you get an extra 6 hours in a day just because you have a book that's out, right? I mean, it's not as though time expands. Because you're supposed to be working on your next book, and you're supposed to be promoting the current book. And if you're a writer, you have what Flaubert called lust of the pen, right? You have 4 more books. We were talking about this earlier. You have 4 more books that you want to write at the same time.
Or 4 more books, and they're clamoring in your head. They're going, okay, here's this scene, and here's that scene.
Yeah, it makes it hard, I think, to cut up the pie of your time, especially if you have to work for a living.